Hello, Snuggly. Welcome to today's Hearthstone video. We're actually going to be taking a look at the top 5 decks in which to climb to Legend for the month of September as of right now with the latest patch. Before we hop into it, I just want to say that this is what we're doing is we're looking at the top 5 decks from Diamond through Legend. I usually filter on over 1,000 games on hsreplay.net. I guess without further ado, let's go hop into the top 5 decks to climb to Legend. So in number 5, we actually have the Beast, Aggro, Druid, whatever you want to call it. There's not that many beasts in here, but that's just sort of how it's defined. So I'm sure we've all seen this at this point. The idea is you get a lot of tokens as fast as possible, maybe use some spells to remove, but mostly to summon tokens. And the idea is you're just going to fill the board before your opponent can remove everything, and you play your Herald of Nature to buff everything by +1/+2, and or Pride's Fury to buff them up +1/+3, using your Crooked Cook, to draw a bunch of cards, even Iron Deep Trogs to, of course, duplicate things and whatnot and get more stats, leave them on the board, and then just overwhelm your opponent and with a bunch of little buffed up dudes. That's that's kind of it. The deck is extremely fast whether you win or lose, so the fact it has a almost 54% win rate within that line means that even if you obviously don't win every game in a row with it, your climb will be really fast. I think most games are usually determined around turn 4 or 5, let's be honest. So like, most games would be sub 5 minutes, and it makes for a really fast climb. Pretty easy to learn, extremely cheap deck to make. As you can see, there's no legendaries and actually not even a single epic in here, so extremely cheap dust to give it a go. So yeah, that's deck number 5. Let's go see what number 4 is. In our 4th spot, we have ourselves the Naga Priest with a little over 55% win rate. So this deck is, of course, not, I wouldn't say it's super difficult, but it's not the easiest deck on the list to pilot, just because it does have some sometimes small ideas that need to be thought out before played. The one thing I would say about this deck is I believe it has like a 68% win rate if you start with one or both Serpent Wigs in your hand, and then almost basically if you don't draw in a Serpent Wig within the first few turns, you usually tend to lose. My playstyle, first of all, I'm not big, even with the Beast Druid before, you've probably seen it on the channel, I'm not super big on the idea of, hey, let's just get one minion to survive, buff it up, and go face. I like a long-term control play, and that's just me. So this isn't really my play style, as well as I'm just not also a big fan of decks that sort of require you to have that one card in order to win. So this one's not for me, but again, relatively cheap deck to make. So it's relatively, I don't want to say cheap, but compared to some other decks, of course, if you're looking at control, not too expensive to make, not that difficult to pilot. You basically try to get your Serpent Wig, you go Naga, Serpent Wig, and so forth. And the probably the trickiest turns is when to know to play your Radiant Elemental. So yeah, that would be a top 4. Number four. Let's keep going. The number 3 deck to climb with right now, honestly no surprise to me, it's pretty much always on these lists in some shape or form, is the Face Hunter with 56% win rate, so about the same as the Naga, really. And it's I don't know what to say about it, honestly. If you've played Hearthstone for any amount of time, you've seen some kind of iteration of this deck. So the point of Face Hunter, you just get a bunch of cheap minions out fast, you go face, and then you try to finish them off with things like your Twin Bow, Terra Coil into collateral damage, or Aim Shot is especially good when it plays twice because it also upgrades your hero power twice. So you end up with 6 damage from the spell, and then 6 damage from your hero power. So if you play the Twin Bow Terra Coil, it becomes almost would be 5 mana, 12 damage combo. Which, I mean, I know you have to play a 4 mana card first, but a 4 mana 4/4 is not terrible when it sets something like that up. Or even doubling things like Wild Spirits or Stag Charge. Amazing. You get the draw power, and then collateral damage, just sort of that last oomph in case you can't get over some things. In this deck, very similar to the Beast Druid. Yes, there's collateral damage in here, so there is a chance it'll go a little bit longer, but for the most part, it ends around turn 5 or 6. So if you want, like, again, a fast climb, not just a high win rate, but a fast climb, Face Hunter would be one for you. Now, honestly, a little bit of a surprise to me, number 2, the second highest win rate deck in that criteria I mentioned from Diamond through Legend, is actually Curse Imp Warlock. Now, I'm not totally surprised that Warlock is on here. Imp Warlock, we've all seen it since the new set came out. It's very dominant, just super beats you down early. And we played a Curse Imp Warlock deck on the channel here, and we did it sort of just because I prefer curses, but thought we needed imps, so I thought we made a worse version. But it kind of turns out that as the, maybe it was due to some of the nerfs and buffs and stuff along the way, but this deck is actually amazing right now. So we may actually have to give this one another try. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any decks, especially any on this list, you'd like to see me give a shot. Preferably, I will say maybe not the Naga Priest, but if you do want to see it, that's what I do. So, but yeah, the deck, I mean, I guess, like I said, we'll kind of just go over it real quick. You have the early game imps to get the pressure on the board, to hit them in the face if you can, control the board, and the draw power with Impending Catastrophe. And then the purpose of having some of these curse cards in here is it doesn't really destroy the deck too badly. Like a 3-mana 3/4 isn't terrible. Lady Darkbane can be good with some of the other cards here as well, not so much Grimoire, but Touch Nazrim, but specifically Abyssal Wave is better. And then Dreadlich Tamsin, of course, is good. So you just get some late game bombs, draw power, and then you can do some really big damage with curses as well, with not crazy high commitment to the deck. Like I said, you don't even have Drag Below in here. So the idea is you might go Tamsin Roam, Abyssal Wave to get 2 curses off, and then you might play Lady Darkvein to get more. Especially if you have Bran, that gives you 4 more curses, and you just kind of blow up your opponent like that. So this deck is, in my opinion, I might prefer it without the imps. I like Curse Warlock, but this is probably the most fun in my play style on this list. So yeah, maybe we'll give this one a shot. And the #1 deck to climb to legend with in standard in the month of September is Beast Hunter, with this particular deck list, I should say, having over a 60% win rate. But even across, I think, all ranks or most ranks right now, in like all variations of the list, with like a almost 58% win rate, which is just kind of crazy. I think it's there because this deck has always, well, since this deck has come out months ago, has been the like epitome of tempo kind of decks. Like, it's got powerful early, mid, and late game. Like, it's kind of solid all around, but not superior, I would say, in any one phase, at least in my opinion. But the thing is it handles, say, aggro really well. And as we just saw from the previous list, aggro has kind of been dominating ever since some of the changes happened to pull control back a little bit. So Beast Hunter is, what happened is tempo decks sort of took over, and Beast Hunter, being the top of that tempo food chain, of course, puts Beast Hunter at the top of this list. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of, I think, why this deck works. It's got just basically everything in the Hunter package, I guess, with Wing Commander Ikman. Sirge Nathrius even plays in here now because there's so many minions. Rat King is amazing. I'll admit, I love myself a Rat King. But yeah, that's, we'll just kind of go over, let's see, some of the big ones for me. Harpoon Gun, I would say, is probably one of the most powerful and important cards in the deck, just for the sake of, for some reason, people always seem to get the Mountain Bear, off the Harpoon Gun, so you can Harpoon Gun into Mountain Bear. And it just seems very common for that to happen, at least from my anecdotal experience. And then, of course, that's just powerful. And then it just seems like every turn they have threats. From turn 1 all the way till the end of the game. So good deck, powerful deck. Let me know in the comments down below. A lot of people probably like Hunter, and maybe that's just my feeling. But with that, thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.